It's Jonathan Herps, founder and CEO of Scale Up Growth. Again, welcome to my business focus series, where I chat with owners, managing directors, founders, and business leaders of scaling companies. It centers around their entrepreneurial journey so far and their aspirations for their companies. Today, it's my great pleasure to introduce Nikki Beaumont, who is founder and CEO of Beaumont People. Hi, Nikki.
Hi. Thanks very much, Jonathan.
And I'm very envious of Nikki. She's working from her second base, which is in sort of almost up on the Queensland border. So you can see the sunshine in the background.
Yeah, it's actually my first base. I'm here permanently now. I get down to Sydney occasionally, but here full time now.
Oh, great. Well, we might talk about that. But let's start with, tell us a bit about what you do and how long you've been doing it.
I'm CEO and founder of a recruitment business called Beaumont People. Losing the name, that I'm the founder there. I couldn't think of anything smarter at the time. And that's 22 years. So 22 years of running this beautiful recruitment business. We're a team of about 75 and cover all of Australia, but mostly well known on the eastern seaboard. Yeah.
Fabulous. And so let's explore that a little bit. So recruitment covers, can cover anything. Yeah, who is your core, your best customer client, and who would you trailer for?
Yeah. Well, obviously, as a recruitment business, our clients are both candidates and clients. So, but I'll speak from a client perspective. We specialise in a number of main areas. So we're well known for the work that we do in the charity sector, covering all roles within the charity sector, within education, health and community services, and associations and memberships and technology. So those are the areas that we're best known for. But we do work with all types of organisations. We recruit the corporate head office staff, so not your skilled, not your labourers, not your hospitality, but it's mostly your corporate staff, from your very junior to the most senior CEOs, board directors, and pretty much everything in between.
Right. So we mentioned that you're sitting in the 25-degree heat, enjoying life. We're all been through the pandemic. What were some of the actions you took during the pandemic that have stuck with the business?
Yeah. I think the main thing's absolutely around the flexibility of working from home. We've continued with that flexibility. We still have offices, although some people have let their offices go. We still do encourage our teams to come together. But certainly, I spend more time up here in the Northern Rivers and don't need to go down to Sydney every second week, as I was doing. We also have people based up in the Northern Rivers who look after roles in Sydney, whereas previously, that would have been primarily Sydney, which is our preference. But that has been a big change for us. I think the other main thing is actually we launched it just before the pandemic, which was the 4-day week, and I think the pandemic and our time working our way through that, I think really just helped us embed the 4-day week successfully. And I think it made us realize actually how valuable it was, particularly during the pandemic when often we were all working from home, was to take that day, to take that break, to take ourselves away from the screen for an entire day through the working week. And we've continued that even though we're back in the office, and hopefully we'll continue that well into the future.
We dive into that because, this is, I think you're interview 86-ish, and I've had no one actually has adopted the 4-day working week. Tell me a bit about how it works.
Sure. Look, we adapted it in February 20. We were one of the first companies in Australia. We're one of the early adopters. So you can find, if you Google me, you can actually probably find a number of podcasts and interviews about how we have implemented the 4-day week anyway. But essentially, it's where you get paid for 5 days and you work 4. Now, these are 4 normal days. They're not 4 extended days. We're not trying to compress the 5-day week into the 4. What we are doing with the 4-day week is looking for ways that we can all be more productive with the time that we have. So it's been useful with the time that we have and being more productive on an individual and personal level with how we spend our time, but also from an organizational level, what support we've put in over the years, and we've continued to learn of opportunities where we can do things differently to be more effective with the time that we have. We run the 4-day week, and we have done now for it's getting on for our 3.5 years, and love it. Would never look back.
Okay. For all our dinosaurs out there, you shouldn't be doing that. So we're not earning extra hours, we're paying for 5 days, 4 days work. I'm assuming how the same productivity targets. How do you actually? Yeah.
Exactly the same productivity targets. So, it is about productivity. This is about measuring people in terms of their outcomes and what their outcomes are supposed to be rather than the time that they're working. And that's one of the most complicated and difficult things, I think, is for organizations and for ourselves to go, okay, let's look at every role individually and what are the actual outcomes. Let's measure so that we can measure that, define them and measure them. So that was actually quite tricky in the beginning. Some roles are easier, some roles are harder. But that's what we work with. And, while you're achieving your desired productivity outcomes, you get to do the 4-day week. But of course, if you're not achieving those, then the 4-day week isn't available for you. And we measure it on a month-to-month basis. So, that's the way that it works for us. There's no better carrot to dangle than if you get to productivity outcomes, you get to do 4 days.
Right. Does everybody have the same day off?
No, everybody chooses their days as they go along. So it varies. We actually, initially, when we first launched the 4-day week, we planned the day that people had off, or the teams planned it. Now we just let the teams work it out between themselves. They cover for each other. They all know that if they absolutely need to work in their day off, then they have to be available to do so if something happens or they're needed, or one of their colleagues needs to ask them a question. But we let the teams organise it between themselves. And we trust them. A massive amount of making the 4-day week successful is based on trust. It's based on people, doing the work that they need to do to get the desired outcomes, So, and I think once you've really embedded that trust in your organisation, and that's better than anything ever, than any 4-day week could be, is people feeling that they're trusted to do the job that they're doing. You support them, but you let them get on with it. Nobody's looking over their shoulder every 5 minutes to check that they're doing what they're doing. We're all in it together. We all know what we've got to do. We all pull together to make it happen.
Right. So I want to explore one other bit, Nikki. Having had pretty much all my clients, except for those in industries where they have to be, but during the pandemic, pretty much everybody went remote. Yeah, there's all of this controversy now with CBA, as an example, wanted to bring people back 50% of the time, and the staff are up in arms, or some of the staff are up in arms. The argument, or one of the key arguments for bringing the staff back is, collaboration, brainstorming as a team, career, leadership development, etc. How do you work within Beaumont people? You've got people remote. How does that work?
Yeah, look, we have a very flexible model in that we don't insist that people come in particularly. We try not to, although we'd like to. I understand the reasons why companies go, you know what? We highly encourage people to come in. This is how we term it. For obviously all of the same reasons and all the good reasons. But in addition to that, I would add connectivity, feeling connected to the role, the organisation, the team, and all of those good things too. We do insist when new people join the business that they spend more time in the office, and often it's a full-time role in the office as much as possible while people are learning to integrate in a new business and how we do things, and being able to give them the support. So we do prefer to ask people in their early stages. And we also, if people are struggling at any point, so that we can give them the support, they can sit next to somebody else and learn from them and have somebody who can help them along their journey and give them the more close support that you just don't get when you're working from home and you're on your own. So we try to work it with an adult professional head on our shoulders. Yes, there are some people that come in more than others, but we're trying to make sure that we say to everybody, a couple of days a week is what we'd really like. And for all of these reasons, when we talk about flexibility, we go, try and manage your time and energy with what's best for yourself, what's best for your team, and what's best for your business, and what's best for your clients. So we ask everybody to consider all of those things when they determine whether they're working from home or whether they're working in the office. And they can work around, look, if I've got back-to-back meetings, I might as well have that as being a home day. But if I'm free and can do some team meetings, maybe that's one of my in the office days. So we do give everybody the flexibility. As I say, it's highly encouraged, and we're avoiding actually setting a rule like CBA have done for all of the reasons that CBA are finding now. It doesn't necessarily suit everybody. I also believe that it's better to manage people individually. 75% of the workforce are coming in a couple of days, as we highly encourage, working together, enjoying the time when they actually come in. And there's a handful of people that are not. Well, manage the handful of people that are not, rather than brushstroke a policy or a rule across the entire organization. Because there are some reasons why people, can't or don't necessarily want to come in 2 days every single week. And I think it's good to meet people at a human level and talk to people individually rather than always brushstroke with a policy.
Thank you. I think that'll really help a lot of the listeners in all aspects of that. What turned out to be a very long answer, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think you've got to remember that people's expectations are different now. People have learned, they've had to adapt over the pandemic. They've had to work from home. They had no choice. They've had to make it work. And they've learned what works for them and what they like, And people will think with their feet, People will go, well, if it's not going to suit me, they will leave and they will go elsewhere. And we're still in a very talent short market. I would know, I'm in recruitment. Yeah. So I think if you are so strict with people with so many policies, you can probably expect to have some turnover.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. My team are, totally remote. As I mentioned earlier, I live in Barrel, which is sort of regional New South Wales, and I've got team members in my one of my key assistants is in Brisbane. I've got the video editor in Ukraine. I'm doing a bit for the Ukraine. I've got 2 staff in Ukraine as an example. So it gives different challenges. So the future, what's it look like for the business, and what do you see as your main challenges going forward?
It depends which angle you look at, really. I mean, look, sort of the future from a talent perspective, the media would lead us to believe that we're coming into some difficult times and there's redundancies ahead and a downturn, of course. So, if you listen to all of that, then that may well be the future for the next however many years, a recession. I don't know. I try not to read too much of it myself. But I think the future is that organizations particularly need to be more mindful of the people that are working there and actually meet them at a human level. I think the organizations that are more people focused will be the ones that thrive. The leaders who support their people and meet their people at a human level are the leaders that will thrive. And those that don't, that still work in the old-fashioned, rule with the iron fist and beat the stick will not thrive because people won't put up with it and won't want to work for them anymore. People, some people want more flexibility than others. Some people are in a role for the success, the challenge, the career opportunities. Everybody's different. But I think we'll continue to see a shift in the way that we work. Continue with more and more flexibility offered for people and different ways of working. The old roles of 9 to 5, 5-day a week work week, are already gone. But I think that will continue. The job flow and the talent markets, how will that go? We're still seeing it's a relatively short talent market out there. We're still seeing it's a tight market. We're still seeing clients go, I just can't find people. So hopefully, that continues for a while for us as recruiters, because that's when we're most useful. But that's how I see it. Yeah.
Well, if it's any help to you, I obviously coach CEOs and founders and leadership teams, and my clients, they're self-selecting in that they want to scale up their businesses, but they are all growing and all actively fit for teams and leaders and staff across the board.
Yeah, strong competition out there, and the strong ones who do the right things and look after their people will be the ones that thrive
Yeah,
out.
I totally agree. So what do you think has been your biggest learning since you've been a business owner?
Well, 22 years, there's been a lot of learning, Jonathan. It can be on for another couple of hours. I mean, look, in my earlier career, if we, I'm 22 years in now, but in my earlier career as a business owner, I think one of the things is just making sure you spend your time on the activities that are going to lead you where you want to go. I see so many people when they're setting up businesses who spend a lot of time getting all of the periphery stuff, working on all the admin stuff, making the website look stunning. And, you could spend hours planning things with forms. I'm a bit of a just get on and do it, and you'll make mistakes along the way. What you think you need now, you probably won't need in a year or two's time, So spend your energy on doing the things that's actually going to lead you to the outcomes. I could spend hours refining our terms of business and all of our policies, or I could go out there and meet CEOs and talk to them and develop relationships at that level. Where should I really be spending my time? The E-Myth was a great book to read all those years ago. I remember that one well. So in my early days, that as obviously as a business leader at 22 years in now, I mean, I think you just cannot get away from the fact that, for me, I'm in the people business, but it is people who make your business. It really is the quality of the people that you hire and the way that you support them and understand them and have them working to their strengths. Really, that makes all the difference. And I've had times throughout my business when I've not done that well. And for somebody who's supposedly a great recruiter, there's times at my business that I haven't recruited the best people. I don't feel that I'm in that place now. I really do feel like I have the best recruitment team that I've ever had. And that's when I get business success, is the people around me. It's not me. I'm one of 75. Great, I can lead the team, but it's actually the team that do the work. And it's recruiting and retaining and supporting and giving them the best opportunity. That's my job.
Yeah. So there's 3 great points there. Right people. Second piece is, and I'll paraphrase it from one of my mentors, everything is downstream of lead generation. And the third is that book, Michael, the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Fabulous book, all entrepreneurs should read. It's essentially about, how do you get what's in here out into processes that can be replicated, and so you can grow your business.
Yeah, and don't just get on and do the business yourself. Actually, look at it from above. Look down at your business and what's going on. So that I remember it from that perspective, particularly.
No, great point. The difficult question for you: when you think of the word successful, who comes to mind and why?
Well, when you actually told me you're going to ask me, I was like, I don't know. You think of lots of different people, but I'm going to say David Attenborough, because, God, that man is a legend. If you watch any of his current stuff, and of course these days you just hear his voice and you hear some great videography, but looking at what he's achieved over his life, and I think where he's at now, from how he's developed from somebody that went and, took animals from the wild and brought them back to the Natural History Museum, to where he is now really trying to educate us in terms of, climate change and what we're doing to the planet. I think if a lot more people actually got onto Netflix and listened to, or wherever they watch it, YouTube, and actually listened to what David Attenborough's got to say and paid attention to it, the world would be in a better place. So, yeah, he's my man. I just think, gosh, how old is he now? And he's still going.
Yeah, I think he's late 80s or 90s, I think now.
Absolutely, and he's still working, and he's still narrating, all the videography's been done in the background and you don't see him as much, but yeah, he's my man.
And it's really interesting because the other part of that, not only is he fabulously purpose-driven and getting this so important word out there, and had been doing it, for 60, 70 years. But if you think about the team around him, his organization whether they be directly employed by him or his companies or whatever. Yeah, he would have hundreds, maybe thousands of staff in the, to produce this stuff and promote this stuff, etc. It's a serious business as well.
And he's still very much a humble man and lives a very humble existence from what I have read.
Yeah.
So good on you.
Yeah, totally great. Yeah, money can only take you so far. Are you a reader? Are there any business books or podcasts?
I'm not a great reader. I'll be honest, I'm not a great reader from business books perspective. But when I do read a book, a business book, I'm one of these people who is busy, doesn't like to sit down too much, have a wonderful life in 120 acres. So that keeps me busy when I'm not working. But I have read a number of business books recently. So I can share with you. In fact, I have one with me. And Meaningful Work, which was written by my managing director, Nina Maxenbaum, recently released only a few weeks ago. So that's my most recent book that I've read and happened to be quoted in it. But what I love about that book is it is suitable for everybody. Whether you're a business person or, whether you're looking for a new job or in a new job or in a job and thinking, am I in the right job? What we see in recruitment is that there's an awful lot of people who are just in jobs and they've never actually stopped to go, why am I doing this work? Is this what I should be doing? And of course, we all know that your work makes such a difference. So that's my number one recommendation. And I believe it's on audiobook as well. The other two books actually, which I've loved and certainly set me on the path, was Path to Purpose by Carolyn Butler Madden, which is all about as businesses and as business leaders, what are we doing to make an impact in the world? What are we actually doing? Are we just here to make profit? Are we just here to employ people? Are we just here to fix washing machines or whatever it might be? Well, what's our part in the world? What's the bigger picture? What's the impact that we can actually make using the skills that we have? So when I read Carolyn Butler Madden's book, I loved it so much. I went straight back to the beginning and I read it all again, which I very rarely do. And she then wrote a second book and has quoted us in it in a whole chapter called Love and Money, because she believes that businesses who actually love and thrive on love within their business are more successful than businesses that are just there for the money. So hopefully there's some good recommendations for your reading.
What was the second book, the title, please?
For Love and Money. Right. Yeah, so Carolyn Butler Madden, Path to Purpose, For Love and Money, and Nina Maxenbaum.
Great. Thank you. There's three I haven't read, so you've added to my ever-growing pile. Right, last question. Any last piece of advice or parting words to entrepreneurs out there or aspiring entrepreneurs?
A couple of things. I think one would be invest in your own leadership skills, number one, because, exactly what you're doing. Listen to broadcasts, read. I didn't read enough. I read a bit now. I am 22 years in, but invest in yourself because, you need to continue to learn and invest in yourself if you're going to become or be the best business leader that you can be. Number two would be, and it's not one above the other, would be look after your people. Place your people first. Is to really respect and look after your people. Hire them well, nurture them, support them well, get to know them, love your people, because they're really your business. That's the way I see it. So,
great.
2 bits of advice.
Thank you so much. So, actually, one final bit of question. So, if someone wants to hire people or want to put the CV to you, what's the best way of going about it?
Well, if you go to our website, beaumontpeople.com.au, you'll be able to connect in there and find out who's the appropriate person for you to speak to, because obviously there's lots of people in different who specialise in different areas. So the website, beaumontpeople.com.au, would be a really good place to start.
Fabulous. Nikki, thank you so much.
Thank you. No, thank you for the opportunity. It's been great chatting to you.
It's been a great conversation. I really enjoyed it.
All right. Thank you.
Cheers.